Well, we've played a month now here at a new club in Dagenham and Redbridge, and things are a little tight. We don't really score all that often. This team is not as good as the expectations the club has for it, and I don't have any transfer budget or wage budget to make any changes. So it's a little bit of a challenge. Hey there, it's Mike. Welcome to Up the Ladder Season 3, Episode 4. We are here at Dagenham and Redbridge. And since we were last together, our form has been all right, but not good enough for us to be able to do what our goal is so far. We have almost escaped relegation zone, but this is what it's looked like. We were last together for this Wealdstone and win against Bromley. We went on to beat Hungerford 5-0 in the FA Cup fourth qualifying round. A couple goals by Paul McCallum, who I brought in to play striker, Junior Mondal, Lewis Payne, and Rico Brown. So a good performance for us there against a much weaker opposition. We then faced Chesterfield, who were near the top, or fighting for a playoff spot at this stage. Drew them 0-0. A disappointing loss against Scunthorpe, where we lost 1-0. The Chesterfield game, if I remember correctly, we were all over them and just couldn't score. A similar idea for Scunthorpe. Again, we were mostly all over them and couldn't score. And then we turned around with a 2-1 win against Stockport, goals coming from Scott Wilson up front and Chris Conclark out on the right, which has kind of been the theme for us in the rest of the games. Then we played Ebbsfleet and drew them 2-2, a good result for us. Ebbsfleet are first in the league, pretty much running away with it. They went up 2-0 in the first half, and then in the second half, we came back and tied it up to 2-2 to get that result there. So a good comeback for us there. Then we played really poorly against Aldershot, lucky to only lose 1-0 there. Mitch Brundle missed a penalty near the end that could have tied it up, so that was disappointing. And then our last game, Scott Wilson scores in the 94th minute to give us the win over Eastleigh. That was another game that we dominated and probably should have won by more, but that is what we have done so far, and that leaves us so far in the standings down in 21st, just 1 point out of getting out of this relegation battle and hopefully start working our way up into the playoff spots, as is our goal. I think I missed a game, which was the Newport County game, which knocked us out of the FA Cup in the first round, the 3-1 loss. And we played quite poorly in that game too, against League 2 side in Newport County. But we've got games against Woking and Weymouth, which could be big games for us, as Woking sits just above us in 20th spot, 1 point ahead of us. So a win will put us out of the relegation zone and put them back down in. And Weymouth is only 4 points ahead of us, sitting in 17th place. So this is where we can really claw our way up and start trying to climb the table here. The dynamics have been pretty good. They're not quite sure about my leadership so far, but we've got good team cohesion, good club atmosphere. And as I said, we loaned out a player, so it gives us just under £5,000 in the payroll from loaning out that player, but we still don't have any transfer budget, so we can't really make any changes. We've actually loaned out 2 players. One was Ollie Dwyer, who's a 25-year-old, doesn't really have much of a future with us at all, so he's been loaned out, and they're paying his wages and paying a fee. Matt Robinson just wants out of the club. He's a 29-year-old midfielder, so I just put him on the unwanted list. Couldn't sell him for his value, couldn't sell him for half value, couldn't sell him for any value, so he's just on sell or release, and the best we could do is give a loan to get him out of the squad and out without any wages being paid, unfortunately. Chorley update, they're sitting up in 10th, so they're not doing too bad. They play Gateshead, who are in 3rd today as well, so we'll keep a partial eye on that, but not too much of an eye there. But this is how we are lining up for this match here today. We have Justin still in net. He's been playing real well in the goal for us, saving some penalties as well, so that's been good to see. Payne's going to come out on right. He has been playing quite well. He's a 19-year-old Englishman, 2.5 ability, almost 4-star ability. I don't know if we talked about him yet, but he's been playing pretty well for us the last couple games, better than who our star player is supposed to be in Kelly Evans. out on the right, so he's going to get the start there. Waterfall and Reynolds are our center defensive pairing. Waterfall and Brown have been our best center defenseman. Brown needed a vacation, so he's on rest right now. And Kelly Evans comes out to the left-hand side as Ado Antoine, who's been really good on the left-hand side, just came back from international break, is just still a little tired, so Kelly Evans will be out there to start. Mitch Brundle moves back into the defensive midfield position. This Adams, who's been playing there, I think he's injured actually. He is injured, but he also hasn't been great on a 6.59 as well. So he comes in that defensive midfield. Harry Phipps has moved his way into the squad. I don't know if we looked at him either. Is it Harry? It is Harry. Harry Phipps, 24-year-old Englishman, 2.5 current ability, 2.5 potential ability. But he has been turning these games since we've had him in the squad. We've been drawing and winning games with him there. He's wanted by Newington right now. He's on the loan list as well. He's just a player who's in form right now, and so he's staying in there. Connor Hargreaves comes in the center midfield position here. I think he might get recalled by his team because they said, why isn't he playing the way? And he's been playing awfully. And I said, well, you feel free to recall him next window, and that's what they said. So he might only be with us till January, but he comes in into that position there. Colin Clark has turned it around and scored quite a few goals for us in this game. He's going to play out in attacking mid-right. Mondal out on the left-hand side here as Dowling was sent off in that game and then has played at like a 6.1 and another awful game since then. So he's on the bench as a sub. And Wilson has been the striker on form in a way. He scored 2 goals to get us the win last game and has been a most consistent striker so far. So he will play up front. And striker is definitely a position that we need as we have the aging people. And we also could use some goaltending as well, as our goaltenders aren't great. So that's what we are looking for in the future. But this is how we line up for this game here today, when the must-win home game against Woking. And so hopefully we will be able to do the business today. Just tell them that the media is being critical, and to prove them wrong, as I've said in the team talk every week, and it motivates them every week, so we continue looking to do it. As we start off this game here against Woking, we're out of the relegation spot because Boston United's not playing right now, and our goal differential, while negative, is not as bad as the ones around us. But so far, we have had mostly attack, though Woking has a free kick that Justin will get over and make the save on there. We'll slow this down a little bit here. But Woking has the corner as Casey will step up to take it, swing it in near post, and Justin will make the save and hold on to it. He's been on great form the last few games, and so hopefully he can continue with that for us here. But we have also kind of changed our instructions. We've shortened the passing up a bit because our team actually isn't very quick, so the more direct is probably not going to be the best way to go. And since we switched the tactic, it's definitely been at least closer games for us, and our defense have been really solid in last. We hope that continues as well here. We have had 6 attempts with only 3 on target. We will go up to a positive as we have controlled this game so far, though story of the game, having higher XG. By the end of matches, we've had XG in the high 1s, low 2s, and still have not scored or only scored 1 goal. So scoring has been a real problem for us. I'm not happy with your performance out there. And we will roll right into the second half and hope to get something better going. Brundle hasn't been great on the defensive mid, and Evans hasn't been great out left, but that's not really going to change our attacking punch at this point. The highlights, though we have dominated in the attacking stats, have been coming from Newport. As they get the throw, and Goddard will have it back to Kennedy. Kennedy will pass it way back. Their center back will launch it forward into Goddard, who's got space, and tucks it into that far corner. And that is just poor. Kelly Evans has not been good either, so he's going to come off, and he's tired for Jared and Ado Antoine. As they play it all the way back to their keeper, whoever that is, that's probably Evans, just leaves his man, who gets a free walk in and tucks it to the bottom right corner. Tight offside. I was wondering too, because it looked, I can't really tell there. I think he was onside though, but it's not going to matter because there's no VAR, so it went in. We have a kickoff off the highlight, so hopefully we can come back and level it up is Waterfall puts it up to Wilson into Con Clark. Con Clark will come down the right hand side, cross it into Wilson, who will put it in right away, and we respond right away with Wilson getting his 13th goal of the season, and we are back in at 1-1, and hopefully can now keep this pressure on here. So right off the kickoff, it goes to Waterfall, who will launch it forth to Wilson. A good head over to Con Clark, who will take it down that right hand side, cross it right onto the foot of Wilson, who will put it in past the keeper to get us just seconds later to tie it back up and put us back at 1-1. And we still are dominating the game here, but just, again, not finishing. Finishing is our problem here. But we do have a highlight. Payne will throw it into Phipps. Phipps will lose out the ball, but it'll come back to Reynolds, who will put it down to Ado Antoine, who will give away the ball. But it comes back to Waterfall, who will launch it forward, giving away the ball. But it will head back to Brundle, who will launch it forward into Mondal, who will get tackled, and it will fall to Wilson, who will put it into his 14th goal of the season, and we were up 2-1. I thought that was going to be offside right there, both first on Mondal and then on Wilson. Both looked offside. So Waterfall puts it in, comes back. Brundle will put it in here. Okay, so this far guy's keeping him on, and then it's because he gets tackled, I think, that might keep Wilson onside. Cork's tackle might have been what played the ball through. We'll see here. Yeah, so there's the tight offside. He's almost offside there. He's tighter than Mondal. And then the tackle here, and I think the other guy kept him on either way. But we are up into 19th place now. With that, we're going to make a couple of changes as we got some tired guys out there. We'll take off Lewis Payne. No, maybe, yes, we'll take off Lewis Payne with Sykes. No, I changed my mind. Lewis Payne will have to fight through the pain of tiredness, and Sykes is going to come on for Waterfall. And then we will make a change with not Brundle. Do I have anyone who can play defensive? Well, Sykes, but nope. Those are the only two changes we're going to make this game. I didn't set up my bench very well. Con Clark's in, though. He's coming down the right-hand side. He gives a crossover, but their goalkeeper will rise up and grab it. I'm pretty sure I had this keeper in one of my FM14 saves. I could be wrong. Waterfall hides it up to Phipps. Phipps into Con Clark. Con Clark will bring it down the side, cross it into Wilson, whose shot will be blocked, and it will be cleared out. And we continue with our domination on this game and hopefully can keep it up. We are just 1 point back on Weymouth, who we play next, and so hopefully that result will keep in that game. Our result will keep here, as we do have much higher XG. We will no, we're going to just keep it going. We're not going to change anything and hope that we can hold off to this game. But Woking has got a highlight coming into Goddard. Goddard will be tackled by Phipps. Phipps will keep on the pressure and win the ball. Well done by Phipps. Into Wilson, over to Mondal. Mondal will flick it back up to Wilson, who can't get it. But it comes to Phipps, who will put it back into Wilson, who will put it into the bottom right corner to make it 3-1. I think this might be the most goals we've scored in the game, and so luckily that is for you guys here on camera as we do go up 3-1, and that should seal it. I am going to bring off Mondal for Darling, just to use that last sub with the 88th minute. Wilson with a great finish in that bottom right corner. He has been the striker on form as he scores another brace for us here today. And we go right into a highlight again here. Hopefully they don't respond back as we did when they had scored their goal and make it 3-2 here. Make it a little too tight for us. German comes down from that side and shoots not even close to the net. And that will be that highlight, if you want to call it that, as we come and we wrap up this game with a good 3-1 win here. Some great performances by the guys. Good win, boys. Well done. And we will hopefully keep that rolling into our next game here against Weymouth. All right, we're back with the match against Weymouth, and just a couple of changes because we have some tired players. The game only happening a few days after our win against Woking. Justin remains in net. Kelly Evans is going to move over to the right-hand side to give Payne that rest. He was just absolutely exhausted after the end of last game, and so he's still feeling the effects of that. So Kelly Evans comes in on the right. Waterfall remains on that center D, joined by his new partner, Kane Sykes, to give Reynolds a rest there. He's not used to starting because, again, Brown usually starts in there. Brown doesn't come back until next game. Ado Antoine comes in to start on that left-hand side. He's got the wrong role. We want him to be supporting wingback. Brundle will remain as our defensive midfielder. Phipps will remain as a deep line playmaker. Great game for him yesterday. I think Hargreaves, we will keep Hargreaves in at center mid. Clark remains out right. Mundal remains out left. And Wilson remains up front as he scored the hat trick last game. So of course we can't take him off. And he's been our striker on form. And that is how we line up against Weymouth here today. Hoping for another win to keep climbing up that table. As Weymouth is the one who's, I think, right ahead of us here. Just by 1 point, if I remember correctly. And we will see, both them and Eastleigh are just 1 point ahead of us here. So we have a good chance to keep moving on up, hopefully. So we kick off, and so far, it looks like Eastleigh has already gone down, perhaps, as we are now moved up 1 spot. But Weymouth has the highlight. Clark puts in a good challenge there, but they still remain on possession as Kearsley takes it for them. Burns will hold on to that ball, and they're back over to Kearsley. Kearsley will loop it out towards the right where Ado Antoine gets beaten, but Sykes is there to clean up and clear the ball down. Their right back will pick it up and pass it in back to Burns, who will pass it down the line. Eventually it makes its way where Sykes will win in the air, but only as far as Burns once again, who will put it into a wide open Avero, and he hits the crossbar, and Ado Antoine will play it safe and just kick it out of play. And now Weymouth has the corner kick as they continue to put the pressure on us. Easy header there to be won, and Clark will now come down on the counter. Clark will carry it down that right-hand side where he'll lose out to Kearsley, who will hoof it forward to Sadie. Their striker will carry it down on that left-hand side. Sadie will beat his man back to Averio. This is a long highlight. Will cross over, but Kelly Evans will get the header and clear it out. And that is finally the end of that very long highlight that saw intense pressure upon us by Weymouth. But we go right into another highlight, as now we have the throw in. Brundle will throw it into Clark, back out to Brundle. Brundle will hold the ball back to Kelly Evans. Tries to get it to Phipps, who will lose out, but Wilson will pick that ball up. It comes out to Phipps, who will score his first goal of the season. Top left corner. What a goal that is from him, and we go up 1-0. Brundle will not cross the bar, so he passes down to Kelly Evans, who doesn't do a great pass, but it comes out to Wilson, who will get tackled, but will fall to Phipps, who will just rifle that into the top left corner from the top of the box, and we are up 1-0. That's why Phipps has earned his place into this team. But we get a highlight again a few minutes later. Burns will have that ball off the throw, and he'll pass it back to Gassini into Dench. Dench back out wide to Gassini, who will take that cross, and Sadie can't get his foot onto it, and it comes out wide. Back to Hatfield, who will find Aviero, who will score his third of the season for Weymouth. And we are tied 1-1 right away as they respond quickly. Defense are just kind of running all over the place. We got lucky that Sadie couldn't reach that one. Really, Justin should have come out and grabbed that. It comes down to Hatfield, and Avero's able to get that right through the legs of Antoine and put it into the net to tie it up at 1 apiece, just 4 minutes after our opening goal. But we still are sitting in 18th. We're going to press Gazzini, but they now have a free kick, or they look like they had a free kick, but I guess they didn't do anything with it. Now they have the goal kick, which they will launch forward, and it will come back to Burns, who's pulling all the strings for them in that center mid. Brundle is not having a good game as our defensive midfielder. They just kick it out to the side, which Kelly Evans will pick up and launch it forward, but there's no support up there for Wilson, and Weymouth comes again down towards us, passes out wide to Hatfield, who will put it into Sadie, who will head it over the bar. Luckily, he has not been able to get anything on these corners, or else this would be a much worse game for us here as we continue in at 1-1 so far before we head into half. We have a free kick just before halftime. Brundle will put it over into Wilson, who will head it, and it will go over the net after he dinks it off the top of the crossbar. And that will go into half time with a very eventful half there. Say, I'm not happy with your performance out there. We're going to change some tactics. We're going to try to go a little bit more positive here, and we are going to bring... Oh, shoot, I didn't change my bench. we're going to bring on Reynolds. He's going to take over for Sykes in that center defense, and Sykes is going to come in as the anchor man for the central defense, and that's the change that we're going to make at halftime as we come into the second half and hope to get a result here to try to move us closer to those playoff spots that the board wants us to get into. But so far, it looks like Eastleigh has come back and tied their game against Boston United. And so we drop back down into 19th, where we were at the beginning of this game, everything remaining the same. As we hit the 65th minute, nothing is happening. Con Clark is tired, so Con Clark's going to come off with Sanupe. It's going to come in. Hargreaves has also not been good, but I don't really have anyone to come in for him. So that is how it's going to have to stay, I guess. So we continue on, coming into the 70th minute, still nothing. We have had more attack now, but the XG has actually gone down, so they haven't been very quality chances. Our defense are absolutely shattered right now, and all I have is Payne right there. So we are going to bring in Lewis Payne, and he's going to come in for Kelly Evans, who's had an all right match, but just try to keep some sort of freshness in there as much as we can. As we come into the 80th minute, no highlights in the second half. Oh, and there's the highlight. Antoine will pass it into Hargreaves. Hargreaves will be back to Antoine. Antoine will carry it down that left-hand side, back over to Hargreaves. Hargreaves will carry towards the middle before passing way back to Reynolds, who will flick it into Wilson, who will take the shot, and that's a great save there by Stewart, but Wilson was offside anyway. And the game continues ticking on as we continue to get more and more chances here. But it looks like so far, I don't want to jinx it. Oh, see, I stopped myself, so they shouldn't be able to score off of this. But Hargreaves will clear the header only as far as Bailey. Bailey will pass it over to Gincini, back to Gillela, into Burns. Burns will be back to Gillela, out wide to Gincini. Gincini will try to cross. Antoine will block it. Mondal will pass it back to Antoine, into Wilson, who will head it down to Hargreaves. Hargreaves will put it in for Wilson. Wilson will play it out wide to Sanupe. Sanupe will carry it down that right-hand wing, and he will draw the penalty, and Caleb Reynolds, our center back, is going to take it. Brundle missed our last penalty, so hopefully Reynolds can put this in. We don't have very good penalty takers in the squad. Reynolds will step up, and he will put it in the pretty much the 94th minute. Will put us up 2-1 off the penalty, and that should seal it for us here. Reynolds, not the greatest penalty, but he just powers it through their goalkeeper to give us that 2-1 lead, and we have jumped all the way up to 16th, and that is where it ends. So we are on the right trend with a couple of wins now here. I say good win. I want to keep the spirit up in this team as we've finally are starting to put together a streak of wins. Yeah, jumping up to 16th, great result for us. How did Chorley do? They're still sitting in 10th. Did they even play today? I don't think they played today. They didn't play today. They're sitting up in 11th, so they're doing all right, but we are starting to work our way up. Antoine's injured 6 to 12 days. Okay, so great result for us there as we land up into 16th. Like, look at the start of the season, and then we took over, I think, for the Wealdstone game, and since then, mostly greens with some yellows. 3 wins in a row for us is real good for us here. And of course, what do we have to come back for? We have to come back for Chorley. So we will come back in January for the matches against Chorley and probably Sutton, because they should still be around us. Oxford City is the bottom of the league, so that's not a big deal. So we will come back for a game against our old squad, Chorley. It's a home game, so they're coming to visit us here at Victoria Road. From Victory Park to Victoria Road is where we've gone. And then the game against Sutton as well. I hope you've enjoyed that video. Please like it, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you next time on Up the Ladder.